Well, I found out earlier that I was wondering. I mean, I thought it's random on these shorts. I really like putting the shorts up, and it's kind of neat to reach people, when you see. For me, I mean, there's folks on this platform that obviously thousands of people watch, tens of thousands, millions watch every video, and uh, and it's not. It's just a neat thing to think, well, 100 people watch that. Anyhow. So I was wondering why the live streams that I was doing, nobody, 0. It's like, "Oh, well, nobody's interested in that, that's cool." Uh, but as I said, it's something, you start to feel crazy when you're just talking to yourself. So it's like, well, I don't know if I just want to talk to myself. But then I seen that they were set to private. So hopefully I got that fixed. And if you wanted to see some of the short streams that I've done, sunset streams, sunrise streams, oh, look at that. Mm, Looking at myself while you watch me, isn't that very weird? Yeah. Anyway, I took a shower and put that on, so my beard's gonna look funny. Nothing I can do about it. But I found out something. I guess I can just turn it around here. This is where I'm at right now. I like to stay at Planet Fitness because it's Planet Fitness. This is open 24 hours, and this one has hydro massage chairs. Oh my god, jeez, oh Pete's, man. How does the other half live? They have hydro massage chairs. So I took advantage of that today, and it was unreal. They have other massage chairs too, but I do the red light, and I love the red light. So like JP Sears, Waking with JP, I can rejuvenate. I can't remember how he said it. It's about rejuvenating his systemic racism at a cellular level. Anyway, I'm here today to just maybe spend a few minutes and talking about something serious with you. It's important to be critical of anyone that you look at as a guru or a shaman, a preacher, if you will, pastor, someone that pastors. To pastors comes from the word pasture. They're supposed to shepherd. It means shepherd. And they're supposed to shepherd, which a lot of times you have to shepherd the sheep with a stick by whacking them, and you can guide them with it. You could whack a wolf. But you have to be careful. I mean, God forbid, if anybody comes here for advice, hey, go over me with a fine tooth comb. Don't just take advice from anyone, and me included. Make sure it's good. Make sure that the person that's saying it. No, no, don't get me wrong. I always say don't throw out the message because of the messenger. But even though I can say that and implore you not to do that, I can still say, if okay, here's the point. Jordan Peterson, he came out when he first became popular. I bought his book, read his book, loved it. I wanted to be more like a lobster. And then I found out this man that I really looked up to, that that he had this huge crutch. He was taking, and I don't care what anyone says, is taking Xanax is a huge crutch. That stuff you should only Xanax should only be prescribed to in my opinion, should only be prescribed to people that are gonna die. It's one of 2 known drugs on earth that can kill you when you stop taking it. The other one's alcohol. No, heroin will not kill you from the withdrawals. You'll wanna die, but it won't kill you. Um, and when I found that out, it really broke my heart. And I turned Jordan off because he was such an influence on my life, and I didn't want to associate that with that same thing. But I gotta say, what a guy. He's taking his own advice. I mean, I think the crazy son of a bitch is just eats steak and drinks water. I mean, he really made me feel bad about judging him and about getting rid of him so harshly and so quickly, and cutting out that channel, that ability, that part of my life, that place where I got that kind of advice from that kind of person. So here's what I want to say. Listening to him today on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was talking about how you have to, as a man, you have to you have to know that you can be utterly evil. that you can be ruthless, that you can let the darkness inside of you destroy. You have to embrace that. You have to know, I believe he said that you have teeth and that they're terrible, that you can use them. And then you have to not use it. He was talking about how the meek shall inherit the earth, and then that's much misinterpreted. I don't know if he's correct or not, but I did like the way he interpreted it. He said as he was looking into the use of the word and its ancient meaning, that to be meek wasn't this, no, no, oh, it's okay, do whatever you want to me. But to be meek was to have a sword, to know how to use it, but it was sheathed. Now, does that mean that you would no longer be meek if you unsheathed it? It depends upon the reason why. We as humans, and more to the point, we as men have a terrible responsibility. Um, we can give way to evil so easily. And I don't mean evil as in you go out and have a few drinks and, sleep with the barmaid. You're not married. I'm saying this. If you're married, you sleep with a barmaid, you're a piece of shit. But if you that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you're coming to dire straits and you have options, and one of the options is to bash somebody's brains in and rob them. Someone hurts you at work and is interfering with your career, and so you find them in a pensive moment alone and you strangle them to death, dismember their body, and cast it into the East River. Now, number please remember, these are hypotheticals. I'm not saying I would do any of these things, and I'm certainly hoping that no one that would listen here would ever do any of these things. But it's the darkness that is inside of you. You must embrace that darkness. You have to know that you will kill. You will rend and destroy, not only to protect life and limb, but because somebody gave you a small slight, because somebody stepped on your shadow. I bear with me now. It's so hard for me to articulate this. It was so powerful for me. It was such a powerful point. It was so important that I have to share it with you as best I can. When you know that you are evil, then that hate, that evil, that dark side, if you will, can be harnessed. When you master that, when you say, "There's my enemy's back. Lo, here is a sword in my hand, and you thrust it not." That is a power so strong. That is a mastery of oneself to a level that I encourage everyone to ponder in their deepest heart. Don't go out and do evil. Don't, I'm not saying that, but realize what you could do. Think of the things that you've done. Maybe the next time you and I not toxic about this masculinity. Next time when your masculinity, when your testosterone and your maleness fires and you got to do something about it. Do it. And then try to get a grip on yourself. Bring yourself into control as quickly as possible. Master that thing. I have to say, if we can all master that darkness inside of us, there's nothing that we couldn't do. Well, it's a real busy parking lot. I'm, sitting here talking to myself, looking at a computer. I guess they would assume that I'm chatting with someone or doing something, whatever. And I really don't care. I hope anybody that takes time to watch this will think about this thing and go watch Jordan Peterson with Joe Rogan. As always, It's worth your time. It's a beautiful thing. I'm gonna close this way. I'm gonna say, in most of my life here in Memphis, I am about 8 miles from Beale Street right now. I would be there. I almost went today, but I'm not gonna tempt myself. There'll be a time where I'll go listen to some blues. I got my guitar right up there, and man, Beale Street, there's a lot of good musicians. I'm not a terrible musician. If I show up with my guitar and start playing it while they're playing it, inevitably I'm invited on stage, and it's a good time. I love to play music live. It's one of my passions, and it's hard to make a living. And for me, I had to get out of the business because boy, getting up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all night long, partying every daggone day, just about. And I don't mean just party, I mean drinking, all that stuff, doing all the things that musicians do, it seems like, even the unfamous ones. Well, thanks for coming by if anyone does. And I'm going to sit here tonight. I'm going to take some time to meditate. When I close this, I'll actually put on Monsters. They got one that's 6 months old, but I want to watch this particular episode. Really good channel. I love all of them. The Mike from Next Chapter, and I like them all. I really like Jim Can't Swim. He's kind of the one that broke this, where they don't go into now. The Monsters will go into a lot of detail about the people's backstory, their childhood and stuff. That's what I like about Jim Can't Swim. They don't deal with like, oh, this person was molested or whatever. They just go right to the interrogation. This is what happened. This is how the person dealt with what happened. Yeah, I mean, they might interject a little bit, like come from a rich family, poor family, something like that, but they don't dwell on it. Anyway, now that I'm rambling, I made my point. I know it was hard for me to make it. I hope that you grasped it and that you also will grasp the darkness that's inside of you. Be good to your friends, be good to your family members, be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, family member, or loved one has done seems to be so huge you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, my beloved riders, at a time you think not. Your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life will depart from you. Good night. Oh, yeah, no end. Just end.